10 to 12 years.
Brahma.
So I've been teaching uh, advertising as well in arts college. So let's start with what your understanding of advertising is. Okay, then we'll get into the details. So I think you would have known what advertising is, right? Like advertising is not something that you are not unfamiliar with. So, what is your understanding of advertising? Because we have only 4 classes, I will quickly um, rush through those classes, and if you have any doubts, I will I can always help you out, right? So we have only 4 classes to complete the entire syllabus. That's the way it is going. So we will just do it in a quick way. If you have any doubts, you can always ask me. Is this clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
So what is your understanding of advertising? Or is advertising a new phenomenon? Did we have advertising as a concept before, or is it something that has been there recently? Do you have any idea about advertising?
Yes, ma'am. It is a paid form of communication, madam. For advertising purpose, most multinational companies pay huge amounts to the advertising agencies. And nowadays, it is a trend for each and everything. Advertising playing an important role. Even in politics, also advertising playing an important role. And they are getting into the minds of the viewers, and also they are distracting them, and also they even not giving a chance to the common man how to think about how to buy certain things. They are
Yeah.
simply they are advertising their product. They are also giving through online, and also they are offering through credit cards also. Even before we are earning money, they are taking our money before we were earn also, ma'am. That's why advertising playing an important role. People are also very much what means they are affected by advertising, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. So, yeah, but my basic question is, was there advertising in the earlier times, or do we have advertising only now?
No, ma'am.
Is
Earlier
it a
also
new phenomenon?
we have a
Advertising.
advertising, not through media, any kind of different kind of the communication media, ma'am.
How? Give me an example.
With
So
paints.
folk media, they used to present their speeches, their views of the certain ruler through folk media. Also, they use it folk media as an important thing, ma'am.
Okay, so fine. Okay, got it. So, but Chandrasekhar, you started with the definition, right? So when you're talking about advertising, it is non-personal, paid form of non-personal presentation of goods, ideas, and services by an identified sponsor. That is the most, like, you have many definitions of advertising that are in place. You have advertisements, definition of advertising given by American Marketing Association, Advertising Association of UK. So individuals, you have people giving definitions of advertising, and then practitioners of advertising also coming up with definitions. But the most standard and most commonly accepted form of definition of advertising is that it is a paid form of non-personal presentation of goods, ideas, and services by an identified sponsor. So when we are saying, like we said that there was advertising in other formats in the earlier days, it is not so. Like, see, when we are talking now, let us split the definition word wise. When we are talking about advertising, it has to be paid form. That means someone has to pay for it. Okay. And how it has to be, it is non-personal presentation. If someone is doing it in person, then it is not advertising. So when you're talking about folk media, when you're talking about someone talking about a product to some person, it is not advertising. That basic difference you have to understand as students of advertising. only if it is non-personal. When is it non-personal? When it is done through certain medium. What kind of medium? Technological medium. It could be print media, it could be television, radio, online, film. So other than any person being in any product being talked about in person, that form is advertising. So it is paid form. Even in folk media, maybe kings used to pay to the folk artist, or other people used to pay to the folk artist. Definitely it is paid form. It is non-personal presentation. That is what is most important thing that you need to focus on, and how advertisement differ from other forms of presentation, promotion. Okay, it is non-personal, paid form of non-personal presentation of goods, ideas, and services, which happens in other forms of promotion as well. There is promotion of goods, ideas, and services by an identified sponsor. So that's where advertising differs. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Once you understand this concept, it is easier to differentiate advertising with other forms. If you are not clear with the basic concept, then it is definitely, you tend to mix up with other ways of promotion. So when you're talking about folk media, or when you're talking about something like publicity or something, some other forms, you cannot mix up advertising with that. Okay, having explained what advertising is, so obviously when there is when we're talking about advertising, there is a process that is involved. So there is it's a communication process. What is happening over there? There is a mass communication process. Whenever you're talking about media, electronic media, so even print includes some kind of a technology, even radio, television. So all these are now digital, since print has even taken the digital format. So all of the media has become electronic based. So when it is electronic based, it has become mass communication. And when you're talking about mass communication, what are the processes that are involved in the communication process? You have a sender, there is a message, there is use of some kind of a technology, and it reaches the audience or the market, right? So who is the sender here? There is a um, uh, there is a sponsor, there is a client. Okay, there is a company, there is a manufacturer. So the manufacturer is the person who is sending across us the information. What is being sent? Message is being sent. How is it being sent? So it is SMCR mode of communication. What is SMCR mode of communication? You have a sender, you have a message, there is a channel, and there is a receiver. So you have all these four elements that are integral to any communication process. Okay, so but apart from this, when you're talking about who are the people, who are the stakeholders who are involved in the communication process, there is always, obviously, whenever there is a communication, whenever there is a message that is being sent, obviously, what are the things that are there apart from the given factors? What are the given factors? The sender, the message, the channel, and the receiver. The entire process is a cyclical process. So there is always an element of noise, and there is a feedback mechanism that works. Okay, so what do you mean by noise? Any idea what is noise? Yes, anyone? Yeah, what do you understand by the word noise?
Yes, ma'am.
See, this is an interactive thing. So
We
be
were,
free. Yeah. Yes, Chandrasekhar.
Shahanan, we were first introduced noise in his mathematical formula,
See, don't go into theories. Yeah, what you have said is right. But what am I asking over here is when there is a communication process, there is an element that is called as noise. What is this noise? The noise is, it could be external, it could be internal, right? Noise could be in the form of technological disturbances, like when there is, you have issues receiving signals. If there is a problem with the Wi-Fi, right, you will not be able to receive my message. So there is a noise in that. So noise technically doesn't mean English, meaning English definition of noise. And when I say noise, the noise it could be in the form of a technological disturbance. It could be noise that could be coming from the environment. It could be from the people around you. It could be from the disturbances that is happening around you, or it could be the internal noise. That is, whenever some message is being put across, right? There is some constant internal thought process. That is, there is constant intrapersonal communication that is happening. So even that acts as a noise, which acts as a hindrance, which acts as a barrier in terms of you receiving the message freely. Is this clear?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So there is an element of noise in the entire communication process. And also you have something like feedback mechanism that is there. And when I'm saying feedback mechanism, there is always feedback mechanism. So how does the feedback mechanism work in the communication process? I know in the case of technology, it is delayed process, but definitely if you're talking about electronic media, like the traditional media or the old media, the feedback could be delayed. But in the case of digital media, the feedback is much faster and quicker. Like you have a survey mode, you have instantly, if you're talking about mobile also, right? If you're using certain apps, or you watch an advertisement on the YouTube, they come up with a link which says that, okay, just can you help us with your feedback? So that way there is a feedback mechanism. So with all these factors, advertisement works. And when you're talking about advertising, right, there is a message, there is always selective attention. So some messages will attract your eyeballs immediately. There is, and when the message is taken, right, based upon the, as I have said, you have an element of noise that is happening at every level. The message, right from the conception of the message. So when the message is being devised, or when the message is being framed, even when the message is put across, maybe there is an element of noise which doesn't allow you to understand the concept as it's supposed to be. So there is disturbance even in the presentation of the concept. Okay. And so there is disturbance in the noise in the form of message as well. And when it is reaching the receiver, the target audience, so the audience are not there is always selective attention. You don't pay attention completely. And then there is selective perception distortion, and there is selective retention. Okay. So are you familiar with these words?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So there is always selective perception, there is selective retention, and therefore, you said the message that is being put across by the advertisers may not reach the way that it is supposed to. So there is always this element of noise that pervades uh, right from the conception of the message till it reaches to the receiver. So there is a communication process that is there even in the case of advertising, and all these elements act in the process of advertising. Okay, so the advertisers uses different kinds of appeals so that the message reaches to the people, to the target audience in a more effective way. Because as we have understood, there is always selective retention. There is a selective attention. You don't pay attention to the entire words that are being conveyed. and there is always selective perception and distortion. And then there is selective retention. So the advertisers have to pass through all these barriers, and therefore they go with different kinds of appeals so that the message reaches to the people in an effective way. So you have something like rational appeal, there is emotional appeal, and therefore, and also you have something like moral appeal. Any idea as to what rational appeal is? Rational is something that is more based on logic, facts. So it says, like, for example, you take a soap, Dove soap. What is special about Dove soap? It says that the pH element of the Dove soap is +7, which is considered to be the most balanced chemical formula for usage of soap. So for many soaps, whatever soaps that we are talking about, be it isosandal or Lyryl or you talk about whatever, Lifebuoy, whatever other categories of soaps that we are talking about, the pH element is higher. So if advertisement is based on this concept that the pH element is +7, and it is something that is advised by the chemists or pharmacists, then that is what is rational. That is what appeals to the mind of the people. So some advertisements are made because with so much competition in the market, definitely you need to bring out that USP, the unique selling proposition. So until unless you devise means and mechanisms through which the USP is brought out. So, and in that process, you pass through different kinds of appeals, right? So, rational appeal is one such mechanism where you talk about either you say that, like, the Bata is an excellent example for rational appeal. It says that our price is what, how much? 199 rupees. So for the common consumers, it is not touching 200. It is still 100 plus. So definitely it is something that is attracting the numbers, the figures. So that way it is rational. So something that go up with some kind of a rational element, a logical element, then that is something we are talking about rational appeal. Okay, some element that touches the logic or satisfies the logical reasoning or reasoning power of the individuals. That is what the rational appeal is all about. Okay, then you have something like emotional appeal. You look at the advertisements, most of the advertisements, the consumer goods, right? It works, it thrives on emotional appeal. So some appeals could be, emotional appeal could be positive, some emotional appeals could be negative. So can you come up with any example for something like positive emotional appeal? Any one of you?
Santur, ma'am. Santur soap, they will advertise Santur all.
What is the positive emotional appeal in that? How is it appealing?
Boost, madam. Boost is secret of my energy. They are appealing.
No. When you're talking about Santur, it is more rational because it says that it keeps the skin glowing, radiant, even for a mother. See, that is what there is less of emotion in that. You talk about surfat, right? Brother and sister, sibling love. You talk about Cadbury's. You share sweets. There is an emotional quotient in that. Okay, so that way emotional. You bring in element. Yeah, you talk about Bonvita. See the recent ad where you have the brothers. One brother would be going to a hostel. I think the younger brother buys a Bonvita dabba and gives it to the brother. And he says, like, the younger one says, like, if you're going to a hostel and you may not have palak and all the nutrients, have Bonvita. So there is an emotional connect in that.
Ma'am, Priya Pickle also, ma'am. They used to, when son is going abroad,
Yeah, that is
mother,
correct.
yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Pickle
Yeah.
use that.
So
Okay, ma'am.
that's how you differentiate, right? So emotional appeal is different to rational appeal. Okay. So you have this emotional quotient that is thrived on in making the advertisement. Entire ad is based on this emotional quotient. Okay, so sometimes it is positive, sometimes it could be negative. Most of the advertisement that is meant for educating people, public service ads, you wear a helmet. If you don't wear a helmet, then if you die, like your family would be waiting. Or if you look into the, if you have traveled in the RTC buses, right, drive slowly. Your family is waiting for you at
Yes,
home.
ma'am. Speed thrills but kills.
Yes, all these are what emotional appeals that are put in little bit scary way. Right? It is not done in a sweet and a positive way. So certain messages need to be put in a sweet and a positive way. Certain messages have to only then can it at least make people think. Otherwise it won't, right? So it depends. You have to look into different emotional. Some could be, the negative could be in terms of exposing them to fear or anxiety, or all these elements which brings about um, uh, uh, some kind of awareness by using emotion. And then you have something like a moral appeal, where the appeal advertisement is done to raise some kind of consciousness in the people, like you don't waste water, every water counts. Okay. Next, female feticide. Okay. And then using you have at one point of time, there were number of Tata ads, like it was talking about how after drinking Tata tea, a girl comes up and says that don't judge the cover of the book, don't judge the book by its cover. Okay, the girl gets that confidence after drinking Tata tea. So something like that, where you're creating empowerment of women, like, so such kind of moral advertisements are also, the appeal is also there, that is put into advertising. So you have advertising that is used using different kinds of appeal to address many social issues as well. So something like female feticide, female empowerment, so breaking of the glass ceiling. Okay, then you have drugs, smuggling. Okay, protection of consumer rights. Various things are there to educate, and by using need-based appeals. Some could be rational, some could be emotional, some could be moral, and sometimes it could be a combination. It's not as though it is bracketed or made into categories. It is nothing like that. You have a combination as well. So this way you find that there is different kinds of appeals that are put across. Okay, and then you have, obviously, when you do have benefits, obviously, through advertising. What happens through advertising? So it is like how advertising helps the society is what also that we needs to think. Advertising, what it does, it creates demand. There is a brand recognition that is happening. There is consumer awareness that is, in general, maybe there is an increase in the overall GDP of the economy. For example, if you're talking about cycle of wealth, if you are a student of economics, you would know that when you're talking about cycle of wealth, right, first there is production, and because there is production, there are sales, and because there are sales, uh, uh, people would like to buy the product, and as a result of this, you have sales, and as a result of sales,
Income generates.
there are profits. Because there are profits, there is more demand, and because there is more demand, people would employ more people, they would open up more branches. So as a result of which employment increases. Because there is increase in employment, the spending power of the people increases, because people are earning. So, and again, they would buy more things, so invest in more companies. So it is a cycle that would go about. The economy works that way. So one of the main advantages of having advertisement is, because there is awareness that is being created about the, see, many products wouldn't have would have been unknown to the people but for advertising, right? Many wouldn't have been known. So after seeing advertisement, be it in okay, Naptol, something like Naptol is a sponsorship program, that's a different thing. But if you have seen an advertisement, um, looking at advertisement, you know that there could be vacuum cleaners that could be offered, that could be available at a lesser price or something like that. So awareness is created, and as a result of it, spending power, people buy the product. More and more are into manufacturing, as and so it's a cyclical process that is happening, which enables the economy to improve constantly, because obviously there are ups and downs, but advertising enables the product to reach to the maximum number of people. So, but obviously, when you're talking about advertising, it is understood that. So, one thing that I would like to talk here about when you're talking about advertising is benefits. Like uh, when you're talking about advertising, right? So, did we not have advertising earlier? Why is it that we are talking about so much about advertising now? Did we have advertising earlier? Yes. Okay, as we are talking about, advertising is definitely a phenomenon that is not older than, say, 200 years. Reason being known, right? Now you know the difference.
Mass media, radio,
Yes, yes.
television,
Print media,
print
with the
media.
coming of print media, advertising developed. Earlier to print media, because as the definition goes by, it is non-personal presentation. Anything that is personal, it is not advertising. Get that difference clear. Don't understand. You have different forms of communication about products even in the earlier times, but they are not advertising. So that is the basic premise on which you have to understand. So advertising as a process evolved, developed, and continues to evolve over a period of 200 years. Yeah. And it is taking a different format with the coming of the new technologies. Now, now let us compare advertising with different forms of other communication methods. So, if you talk about advertising, if you let us go back to the olden times, right? Even at the time of kings, or even like when people started to live in settlements, or when people from sedentary life, they have started to live in a what should I say, settled life, from a sedentary life to settled life. At that time, people started to live, and then you have different categories of craftsmen that have developed. You had masons, you had carpenters, you had blacksmiths, you had goldsmiths. Different people were there, but all these people, if you had so many people of goldsmiths, so many masons, so many ironsmiths, okay, how did we categorize, how did we know that this is the art of some person? So how did this happen? They had a seal of themselves, they had a mark of their own, and that's how you categorized, identified that this is coming from their stable. Okay, if a goldsmith is making a particular chain, he would come up with an impression to say that an initial, that's what we call that as brand now, a brand name, a logo, a symbol. Okay, even in the earlier, if you go to villages now, right, a local goldsmith will have a small, tiny indication, a symbol that would differentiate. He would, when you take it to some other person, they will say it's not our product. How? Or if you take it to the goldsmith again after 20 years, he will say that this is my product. How? Because they have their own logos and symbols finely crafted into that. So that's how it started. Okay, The process of having a logo and symbol is something that has been there uh, um, for for the time unknown. For the time unknown, how could you identify your own breed of buffaloes or sheep or cows by having this logo that is put even till date? If you look at the back of buffaloes or cows, there is a symbol that is put upon, and that is identified. That's how you come up with logos and symbols, that this is my product.
Like Mangalagiri silks and also Mangalagiri saris, like
Yes. Yeah,
Pocharam,
Pochampalli, Mangalgiri.
Pochampalli, Mangalagiri.
Yeah, definitely.
The,
Everything,
the
it
logo.
is identified. Correct, correct. So you have all these things that differentiates your product from. But when these products existed, so there was an attempt to see to it that their product win the market at that time also. Though the market that we're talking, the global market that we're talking about is not wasn't there at that particular point of time. But whatever small market, the Santa that we used to call then, it was there, right? The Santa existed even at that time. So they used to call. So they used to shout. So earlier those were the cries. Crying means not literal crying. Crying means shouting. If you are, they used to have people who would go out, say, we have our products. Even now, if you go to Raitu Bazaar or any other place, local markets, people would come, you come and buy at our place. Mangoes, like if you
Yes, ma'am.
visit.
Guntur Mirchi and also that
Mm,
Newsweed mangoes brand and coconuts.
yeah,
Bellam,
brand is there.
Ankapalli, Jaggery, some sort of
Jaggery,
brand,
yes,
baggery.
yes. Correct. So these are there. But apart from that, you do have people saying that if you talk about local Santa or local Raitu Bazaar, people would come to you and say that you buy our product. So they shout and say, they call and take your attention. So they are called as criers. Okay, people who shout and call your attention, they are called as criers. So, and when you have that's the initial form of, that's the way how people used to communicate initially in the early days. And that practice continues even till date. It's not as though it has become extinct. It continues to be there even till date. Yes.
Now
Are
they
you
are using
understanding?
the mic. They are now using
Yeah.
mic, madam.
Now
Yes,
they're
some
using
hard
mic.
to use mic and yes, ma'am. On
Yeah.
streets they will come.
Now, okay, if you talk about vegetable vendors, fruit vendors, they go on the streets using mics. They don't even have to shout now, like earlier times. They use mic and then announce to the people that, okay, yeah. So that's how it works, right? See, so this is an interactive session. Actually, I think all of you can participate. The more you people participate, the better it would be to come up with different ideas. And any point of time you have not understood anything, you can just put a message in the chat. I think I can help you out. Okay. I'm not texting you. I can explain. Okay. I'm not texting anything. Fine. So now, most often advertisement and publicity are considered to be same, but they are different. Okay. Publicity is something that is done. Definitely there is an element of identified sponsor as well as unidentified sponsor. So mouth of word publicity, you go watch a movie. Now the recent movie that has been launched, that has been out is Major. I think even Vikram has come out, right? So there's a talk that goes about how is this movie. There is already a talk that happens. How is the movie? How many of you have watched it? No one watched.
No, ma'am.
No one watched Major. Okay, good. Good in the sense, I'm not saying that it is good. Okay, fine. So even before you watch a movie, there is already a talk that goes about whether the movie is good. For example, Sarkar Vare Pata, or you talk about something like whatever movie that you're talking about. So there is always a talk that goes about. So whatever this talk could be initiated by the people themselves, and it passes on, or it could be done by some factor. So there is element of trust, there is element of mistrust. So your publicity cannot be, is not reliable. But if it is coming from people who are not connected to the product or to the service, movie is a service, right? So, um, uh, so if it is coming through some third person, the element of or the 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 uh, um, the chances of people trusting that word is more than in advertising. So why is it so? Because it is coming from a third person. When it is advertisement, you know that it is done by the sponsor, the company. Okay, so because it is done by the company, you know that it is the company that is doing it. But if it is publicity, it is not done by company. It may be done. There is always an element of being done by the company themselves, or it could be coming from even third party as well. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I'm only talking to Chandrasekhar. Looks like that. But at least glad that at least some, no class, I think someone, like you people need to understand. If there is any doubt, and see, if, um, like they, in Telugu, there is a proverb, Maunam Ardangikaram. So if you people are not saying anything, I assume that whatever I'm trying to put across, you people have understood. Someone has opened up their mic. Galaxy MS1 M51.
No, madam. For only responding, madam.
You are okay, fine. Yes, I don't know your name, but for that it is Galaxy
Okay.
M51.
Madam, my name is Srinivasul, madam. From
Srinivasalu. Yes,
Kadapa, madam.
Srinivasalu. Okay, good. Srinivasalu, yeah. Anything that you need to talk?
No, madam. No, madam. For understanding, I will give response only, madam. Which you
Okay,
ask,
fine.
madam.
Sure, thank you. Okay, fine. So as I've said, publicity is something that is uh, um, could be done. Like most of the promotions that is done on the say all the major shows, be it Indian Idol or all these reality shows, or sometimes they come as part of a soap opera. Like for example, these serials. So all these things, it is publicity, and as I've said, it could be a sponsored publicity, or it could be done by it could be done by voluntarily by people as well. So therefore, it is not as though it has to be paid form. It has to be in the paid form. So you use some product, for example, Galaxy M51. So someone, like if you have loved that product, you would go about telling your friends that, okay, this product, this phone is working in it. It's as, in fact, better than many of the big super phones. So you're giving a publicity to that product. So it is word of mouth, and it is something that is coming from a third person, not from the sponsor. So the trust factor could be high in this. So therefore, publicity could take different formats. So apart from publicity, different promotions could be like personal selling. What is personal selling? Uh, when you're talking about personal selling, any kind of interpersonal communication through which persuasive interpersonal communication towards selling a product is personal selling. Okay. For example, you have a
Lal-
salesperson.
Lalita Jewelers, ma'am.
Lalita Jewelers is advertising. That is celebrity based, like a face based. It is advertising. As I've
Okay,
said,
ma'am.
see, Srinivas, one thing that you need to identify between advertising and other forms of communication, as I am saying, is advertising is non-personal. Lalita Jewelers is coming as a television ad. The owner is advertising. That's a different format of advertising. Okay, but the owner is advertising over there through some electronic medium. And when I'm saying personal selling, here it is face to face. Any promotion, persuasion towards a product that is done face to face is personal selling. What you see in the markets, what you see in the shops, be it Bajaj outlet, or you go to any shop for that matter, any shop, or a salesperson coming to your house, or Narayana Chaitanya colleges sending people, if they know that
Completed
you're
SSC.
yes,
SSC, after SSC, ma'am, they will come
yeah,
to
they come to homes and they see to it that
to
they say we'll
join in
give
their
you,
college.
yeah, package, we will give you discounts. Okay, they come face to face. That is personal selling. Okay, so wherein uh, an individual is there physically, it could be in any place. That is personal selling. Is this clear? Any classic, the concept of personal selling, again, as I have said earlier, has been there from times, from very long times. Okay, even till date, you have personal selling used as a means of communication. Though personal selling is a very expensive means, but companies have become successful first with the use of just not through advertising, personal selling. Eureka Forbes, Aquaguard, these are classic examples of where personal selling people, the companies sent people to homes. They spoke, they see, especially countries like Asian countries, like countries like India, right, where people believing in using broomstick, mop, doing it with
Vacuum cleaners, they also say personal selling and
yeah, people
mix,
don't use vacuum
mixes.
cleaners. People don't trust. Only if you do physically, only people are comfortable, right? In such a market, through personal selling, Eureka Forbes entered the houses. Especially, it first targeted the rich and the elite, and slowly it went to the upper middle class and even the middle class. Certain segments are also using Eureka Forbes. What Aquaphobes, Aquaguard, right? It's a classic example where not just the rich and the elite, even you find them in every, almost literally every household. Have we ever imagined using Aquaguard or for filtering water? For us, the conventional methods was to use pots, because a mud pot would absorb dust, elements, everything. That was the conventional way. So, but still, Eureka Forbes, the Aquaguard has hit the market, and literally most of the houses now have RO at their place. So that's the power of personal selling. That's how, but again, lot of advantages and disadvantages, which I'm not getting into detail. Okay. There are disadvantages with personal selling because it depends upon the salesperson's communication skills, how comfortable this salesperson is. Okay. Then next, coming to sales promotion. What is sales promotion? Sales promotion is wherein um, you come up with a promotional strategy, like you buy, like you have everywhere, you buy Ashada Masam sale, or you have even on the electronic gadgets, Diwali sale, or electronic items, right? You have a Dasara sale.
Akshaya Tritiya gold
Actually, the gold.
discount.
Yeah, these are all promotional strategies wherein they induce, or they make the consumers to to motivate them towards buying the product. You may be a little bit reluctant, like, okay, if some fridge is not working, or something is not working, you tend to postpone. You say that, okay, we'll do it. But when they say that we are offering you 20 discount, or you get this, or you get a lucky coupon, or something like that, Okay, then you always think there is an exchange that is there. These are all promotional strategies to attract consumers who are on the borderline to make them buy the product. Okay, so you have again public relations also, wherein you have through television interviews and newspaper statements, you attract people towards buying the product. Okay, so communication is an important aspect of advertising, and definitely advertising is one of the important means of communication. Okay, fine. So the next unit that I'm going to talk to you is about uh, marketing mix. Okay, any doubts, anything that needs to be taught here?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Continue.
Okay, fine. So we're talking about marketing mix, and when we're talking about marketing mix, advertising. So is advertising and marketing same? The first point is that. Yeah, is advertising and marketing same?
No, ma'am.
How? Okay, fine. At least it is not same. That's the correct answer. So how advertising and marketing is not same? Market is a combination of many things. When you're talking about advertising, advertising is only just giving you information about a product, right? When we're talking about market, for the product to be sold, only if you advertise it is not sufficient. Firstly, there has to be a product. Then there needs to be a place to sell the product. So when talking about a market is a mix of, initially we used to think it as 4 P's. Now three more P's are added. Overall, we have 7 P's. But when you're talking about marketing, so market is a combination of 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion. Okay, but now with the changing times, people feel that apart from these four, you have people, processes, and physical evidences also part of this four that needs to be included to be to make it more reachable to the people. So according to Kotler, Philip Kotler has done an extensive research on marketing, and he has come out with a lot of books on marketing. Okay, so according to Philip Kotler, marketing mix is the set of controllable variables that can be used by a company to influence the consumer's buying behavior. That's what is marketing mix is. So when you're talking about marketing mix, product, what is a product? A product, when I'm talking about a product is a combination of goods and services. Goods are something that could be felt physically. Services are something that cannot be felt physically. So goods are tangible, whereas services are intangible. Goods, like anything, any product that could be felt is a good. Uh, Starting from tables, spoons, chairs, laptops, mobiles, you name a thing, all those that could be felt by your hand is a good. What comes under services?
Washing machine,
Okay.
ma'am. Washing machine,
Service is machine is a good. Service is something that is offered by the people. That is service. Okay. For example, you go to a restaurant. Okay. You eat a product. You eat something. So the way the server comes and serves to you, okay, the way the server behaves with you, and the way the food is prepared, okay, it is a servicing sector. Something that you cannot uh, uh, what assess, something that is tough to judge. and it differs from individual to individual. You talk about a mobile, more or less, the understanding of the mobile is similar for everyone because the way it is done, it is same for everyone. But if you go to a restaurant, maybe my feelings towards the way the food is, or the way the service in the restaurant is, may be different to the way you perceive it. So it is something that is intangible, like something like teaching. Teaching is a
And
service.
also beauty parlor, ma'am.
Yes, excellent. Parlor, hospitality, then medical service, something you go
Banking, madam. Banking, madam.
banking, excellent. So these are all service sectors which are intangible. It is difficult to strictly measure them in terms of being right or wrong. Okay, if you see a product, right, if there is a defect with the product, you can easily say, okay, this product is defective. But in the services, it is tough to say because it differs from individual to individual to start with, and the overall experience could be difficult to measure for everyone. Okay, so when you're talking about goods, products, a product is a combination of goods and services, and you categorize them. Some goods are durable, some are non-durable. Some could be why are we talking about products and goods and all these things? Because accordingly the advertisements are made. Some are durable products, like that have a longer shelf life. Something like a television, it can be there for 20 years or it may go just in a day. But overall, it has a longer period of life. So, but on the other side, non-durable products, something like perishables, milk, food, cereals. Okay, something that cannot stay longer for a longer period of times, though the perishables are non-durable. So goods are categorized based on perishables and non-perishables, tangible and intangible. Again, goods are again categorized as, you have different categories. It's for understanding sake, the categories are done. So it doesn't mean that once this category is done, it doesn't mean that you cannot have any other category. No, it's not like that. So many categories are done, many types of products are there for better understanding of the product. Okay, is this clear? Why you have so many classifications, so many types? It's only for better understanding, so that accordingly, the purpose of a market is to reach to the larger segment. Okay, so you cannot just sit saying that, okay, you have already done these categories. Why so many categories? No, it's not like that. The classification is done, the categories are done, the divisions are done, so that it is easier for us to understand. Okay, so you have durable, non-durable, tangible, intangible, and then you have the services. Then you have something like industrial products. And when you're talking about products, you have something like core product. Like when a product is there. Now, I think Srinivas spoke about washing machine service. I think he said it. So you have this washing machine is a core product, and um, the washing machine, the services offered by the washing machine is the augmented product. What do you understand by that? It is like you have a core product, you have an actual product, you have an augmented product. What do you mean by the core product? Why do you buy the washing machine? The washing machine purpose is to wash the clothes, right? That is the core benefit of that product. That's the reason why you are buying that product. And what is the actual product? It is the physical product. How the washing machine is, the design, the way it is, the way it looks, all this, the color, the style. This is the actual product. And then the augmented product, that is where the intangibleness of the product comes. every product has an element of intangible. So when I'm saying that it is difficult to measure, every product is a combination of tangible and intangibleness. Is this clear? Yes. Is this
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
clear?
ma'am.
Every product, as I've said, is a combination of tangibleness and intangibleness. So washing machine is a product. The core product benefit is that it washes the clothes. That is the actual actual benefit for which you have brought the product. And how the actual product looks like is what that may drive you. You have so many brands. You have Whirlpool, you have Bosch, you have BPL, you have
LG.
higher. Yeah, you have so many Samsung. You have so many varieties of brands that are there, that are existing. But why do you buy a particular brand? It's because maybe you love that color combination, or you love the design, you love the look, whatever. For whatever reasons, you end up buying for its features. Okay, it's for its warranty, for its maybe for its ability to work on a UPS generator. So for whatever reasons, you buy that product. That is the actual product. And then you have the augmented. That is the intangible part, the non-physical part. Okay, so the warranty, the after-sales service, the customer service provided by the company. Okay, and this is what is deciding factor for any product. If your augmented product or the after-sales product is not to your satisfaction, definitely you would never get back to that brand. You find that in many houses you find same brand. Why? Because you find that the satisfaction is very high. It is for this reason you buy that brand. Okay, it's because you said you have that affinity, or you have that connect, that intangible connect, that brand. But once, if this augmented product is not able to satisfy, then you will never get back to that brand. And obviously, you would go about giving the needed publicity, whether in a positive way or in a negative way. Yeah, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then comes once we have talked about product, then comes product price. So when you're talking about a price for a product, fixing a price is a very important thing. What is a price? Price is the money that a consumer pays for a product without feeling that he is being cheated. I pay a price for a product only if I feel that I'm not being cheated. If the price of Maggie is running into hundreds, I won't buy because it's not worth it. If iPhone is running into, say, 70,000, 80,000, will I buy
No,
iPhone?
ma'am.
No, because you feel
Hi.
any other phones are able to provide equally good service, equally good efficiency, equally good. But one major basic difference between iPhone and other phones is that iPhone is operating on iOS, whereas in the case of others, it is Android, which there is a possibility of virus. The only positive thing that why people are paying such a price for iPhone is that to a great extent, it can be bugged. It can't be bugged. Is what that the Apple company claims. That's what Apple boasts, and I think to some extent it is true. To some extent it is true, but whatever it is, still you feel it's not that all Android phones are so hopeless. then Android market wouldn't be flourishing so much compared to iPhone, if that was the only case. So pricing is a very sensitive thing. As long as the consumers, the target consumers, feel that the pricing is something that is uh, uh, it is worth for it, the customer, whatever the customer is paying for, then then the product, many products have failed because of pricing, which people don't take cognizance of. But many products failed because of the way the pricing mechanism was there. Yes, Niranjan? Did you say something?
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry.
Fine. So when you're talking about pricing, right, there is something like premium pricing, as I've talked about iPhone, Mac product. You name any Mac product, they are so very protective about their be it their chargers, be it their you name their parts, you name a thing, definitely not easy, and everything is so very premium. Though Indian markets, like Jugaad is something that Indian markets are known for, or many Asian markets, you find duplicate chargers, everything, because you can't pay 2,000 for a charger, right? Why would anyone buy a charger with the 2,000? When you get an alternative for maybe, yeah, again, there is always logic. Then you bought a phone for 70,000. I won't want to, what, I wouldn't want to make it spoil my phone thinking for 2,000. So there is always an argument, counter argument that goes about. That's a different thing. But what I'm talking here is about the premium pricing. The premium pricing is something that is usually used for high-end products. Ferrari, high-end cars, like Benz, like BMW, Merc, like they customize the cars, and they take pride in that. Like we make cars the way, if you want top opening, right opening, back opening, you want petrol, generally tanks are at the back, you want it in the front, you pay a price for it, I can get the petrol tank even in the front of the car. They remove the engines in from the front, so they can customize the car they want, you want, and they do it. That's for a premium price. Okay, that is what is premium, and they have no qualms about whom they are targeting for. Watches, pens, you have pens that are people may wonder, like who would use pens nowadays.
Parker
You
pen,
have
ma'am.
gold,
Parker.
huh?
Parker
Pens
pen.
that are,
Yes, ma'am.
correct, golden pens. uh, you ultimately you need to sign, like if you look at any kind of agreements that happen between countries or whatever, between big business magnates, so they wouldn't sign with an ordinary pen, they would go for a gold pen, or maybe decorated with diamonds, whatever you can name for, they would want that. So they are premium. So you have premium pricing. Then there is something like penetration pricing. What do you mean by penetration pricing? A classic example would be Times of India when it was introduced into Hyderabad market. Till Times of India came into the Times of India is a recent entry in the newspaper, print media market in Hyderabad. It's as old as 10 years, not beyond that. Okay. So before that, Deccan Chronicle was uh, at its peak. Like it's ruling the market. You did have Hindu in the second place, and obviously you had here and there some English papers, small scale English papers coming and going and all this. But if you look into the readership numbers, figures, you had Deccan Chronicle at its like with the highest maximum number of readership figures. It was considered to be a local newspaper. DC is a look. It's Hyderabad-based newspaper. Okay. But when Times of India entered the market, it knew it had its challenge. Hindu, it was meant for, like, if you're talking about Hindu, people feel that the language that is being used in Hindu is high standard, meant for elite, meant for scholarly people, meant for academicians, not for common people. You talk about Deccan Chronicle. Deccan Chronicle is a combination of everything. You have movies, you have puzzles, you have children kids page, you have all, like, it is a combination of all elements and features. But unlike that, Hindu was more a serious paper. Only if you wanted to read technical, if you are sitting with Hindu, you have to read at least for 2 hours. Not now anymore, but for a very long time that has been the understanding. But you see Deccan Chronicle, you can get everything, but for the edit page, opinion edit page, editorial page, the rest of the pages are light reads. Okay. So how to beat Deccan Chronicle? How to first to enter the market, Deccan Chronicle market, and occupy the second, at least to start with, second position of Hindu. That has been a challenge for Times. What it did penetration pricing. What do you mean by penetration pricing? You offer the paper. Deccan Chronicle was sold when
Low
Times of
price.
India came.
Low price.
No. Deccan Chronicle was low price.
No, ma'am. This one, Times of India.
Yeah, correct. So when Deccan Chronicle was being sold for 250 or so, Times entered the market saying that we'll offer 32 pages. It's not even 1, 2. Even if you sell it in Raddi, you get that money back. So it somehow filled the pages with advertisements and said that it will offer the paper for 1 rupee. And it continued for that pricing for 1 rupee. And now you look into Times of India paper price, it is in fact as much as DC or even more than that. So that is penetration pricing. What do you mean by penetration pricing? To beat the market, enter with a low price. And once you find that sustainability, go for your normal pricing. So that is what is penetration pricing.
Tea powder,
And then
there's
you
also one time they will also offer, ma'am, 20% extra if you buy that.
Yeah, correct. So they went in all kinds of promotional strategies. Yes. Offering for 1 rupee is also a sales promotion method. You are offering a newspaper for 1 rupee, it is sales promotion. You're promoting a product, you're introducing a product with sales promotion and advertising.
So buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. That strategy,
Yes.
man. Buy one, get two. Get five,
Correct.
we'll give three free.
Yeah, correct. So that's how it went. That's how Times of India started. Okay, so now economy pricing. That is, you don't have any categories for this low price. You know that you have to enter the market, and if you are you have to go with more or less a certain pricing category, so that the strategy is to reach to all the people and enter corners of the country. That is the low price strategy that most of the consumer goods adopt. Groceries, toiletries, bathroom products, all these things. Now you get a Harpic for 5 rupees sachet. You get all these things. So there is, like, you don't have any. The strategy is very clear. The intention is to reach
Even
the
in
market.
medical, Apollo Pharmacy also they will offer, ma'am. If you buy 1,000, then we will give 2,000 discount. Now pharmacy also will find.
Going with sales promotion strategies.
Yes,
You name a category, everywhere you have sales promotion. If you buy bus tickets, sales promotion. You buy this and next time you get a discount. Flight tickets, okay. Even telecom services. You buy this, you get a Disney Platstar free, Z5 free, all these things. What are all these sales promotion strategies, right? You have to break the market. See, how did Reliance Jio break Airtel market? It offered Geo services at such a low price that now it entered the market in a way that you can't find a single. See, one way it is good, definitely. Earlier, 30 years back, PSNL was the only telecom service provider. Even to get a phone connection, it used to take 1 year, more than 1 year.
Yes, ma'am. They will tell you are not having a new line. We have to lay new line. That problem they
Yeah.
used to say. So many problems have to be. Nowadays also they are not providing, ma'am.
Even now, see, now
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is a different. See,
Now
now
also.
because the government is offering VRS and all these things, staff, they are highly understaffed. And okay, it is, yeah, but okay, we're not getting into that discussion. But yes, that's how it has happened. It is to some extent, even the government is killing the public sector units. Air India. Air India is properly killed by the government
They
inefficiency.
sold to Tata.
Sold to Tata. Now Tata is also offering VRS to VRS to uh, VRS to the employees.
They are also
It's
trying to sell now. Railways also they are
yeah, they are
privatization now
trying to
to
privatize
Adani
railways.
or Ambani. They are taking now. In 2-3 months
Okay,
they will
so
take over, ma'am.
ours is what, advertising, not journalism class. We are not getting into details. Okay, fine. Okay. Then yeah, so price skimming is something like sometimes you tend to have a higher price, sometimes we tend to have a lower price, like you tend to increase reduce according to price skimming is actually wherein when you, what do you mean by skimming is you churn, like you call that as uh, majjiga chilikite, you have that churner, you know that.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
So you have the cream that is uh, cream that
When will come?
yeah, butter is there. So that is what is price skimming. So uh, once you come up with the high price, but you find that the competitive products have come into market, you tend to little bit slow down the pricing. So first, initially, when airlines were there, it was only Air India, right? Then you have now you have private airlines. You had Indigo, you had SpiceJet, you had Jet Airways, all these things. They were offering competitive prices. So initially the price was high, but slowly even they have to reduce the price. So that kind of skimming happens where at one point of time you will have a very high price, but generally as the time progresses, you tend to reduce the price. Okay. Then we are talking about place, and when you're talking about place is availability of the product. You want to buy a product, if the product is not available, what will you do? You go for alternative. Yes. See, for example, you go to a shop planning to buy some okay, some, now you have exclusive retail showrooms so that you don't miss out on the consumers. But if you go for a general shop, something like, okay, you go to Reliance Digital, okay, there you find, since Reliance is not into manufacturing televisions, that's a different thing. But if you go to Reliance Digital, right, you find Samsung, you find LG, you find Sony, you find Philips. Right. You make your calculations, go to the shop, planning to buy, okay, let's assume a Sony television. But if the Reliance in partnership, like with Samsung and Galaxy and LG, he will not make the Sony unit display visible to your eyes. So you will see Samsung and this. So you'll think, Are, should I go with this, or again should I go around 10 shops again looking for Sony? Let me go for something alternative. That is the strategy, place strategy used by manufacturers. You go to a shop, any of these shops, right? What do? They say that, okay, between the Whirlpool washing machine and Samsung washing machine, the features are better with Samsung. So the salesperson convinces you to go for Samsung. So you will think, Arey, let me try this. What is Sam? Like the way I'm. Uh, so
Yes, ma'am.
availability.
They will also say compare prices also, madam. Prices. And
Yeah,
also we give
yeah,
guarantee to the motor and also 15 years, 10
exactly,
years warranty. Our person will come
exactly.
and guide you, ma'am. That they will attract the person in so many ways, ma'am. Without giving an
Yes.
opportunity to him
Yeah.
to
So,
think
and with
what to buy.
what to buy. Yes. See, that is what is play strategy, right? We know that it is a strat, and we fall to it. Best part is we fall to it. Okay. So when you're talking about price place, the place distribution network is an important feature. Like that's why market is a big thing. You have a product. How to starting to start with a product has to be good. If the you have all these things, the product is not good, no one buys. Only you have confidence that maybe Samsung is doing good or maybe LG is doing good. That's the reason why you're buying the product, right? If to start with, the product has to be good, right? If without the product being good, you wouldn't buy, no. So you have to have a product that is good, efficient. Then the pricing has to be good. Place. When I'm talking about place, it is a network. You have the manufacturer, you have the distributors, the wholesalers, the retailers, and then it needs to be there available for the consumers at the retailer unit. So it is a combination that we are talking about. So if the network fails anywhere, if the product, firstly, the network has to be in place. So everywhere the manufacturer has to provide incentives to the wholesalers, to the dealers, to the retailers. Only then the product will find a visibility to the consumer. If the Sony fails to satisfy the retailer, Sony product, though it is there in the shop, will not be visible to you. Certain products are kept in front. It's because it's certain products are kept in the shop because uh, the retailer is trying to provide some incentives to the sorry, the manufacturer is trying to provide some incentives to the retailer. Is this clear? Yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then you have, yeah, people, the way the internal publics and external publics are there, how to go about with the call centers, the customer services. That is part of our people and the public relations, and the mechanism of the processes where you have a flow of mechanisms of activities and the product being there. So you need to have all these things. Then you have something like segmentation, targeting, and positioning, where you need to, when the product has to reach to the market. Market means the place. The place is the market. So place play a very important role again, which many times often we don't even identify. Place is nothing but market, right? You go to a shop, that is a market. So when you're talking about the market place, you have something like segmentation, you have targeting, and then positioning. So segmentation, you have a huge heterogeneous market, big market. You take India, it's a big market, and that market needs to be segmented, broken to reach to the people. If you are not breaking the market, you can't have a uniform plan until unless the product is already established. Is this clear? So segmentation is the first stage. Then once you segment, then you have something like targeting. So you need to target the markets, right? You have to, you know who the target market is. The target market has to be addressed. Not all people are meant for all products. Maybe I am using, say, AquaGuard, but okay, AquaGuard may not be used by all categories. We're talking about soaps, maybe soaps are used by again all categories. But again, if you're talking about 1 rupee sachets, it could be used by students, it could be used by people on move, it could be, so they could be rich. But again, it's convenience. You won't buy a 200 rupees bottle of shampoo if you are on a move, if you are traveling. What would you buy instead? You would purchase a 5 rupee sachet. So does that mean that the 5 rupee sachets are bought only by lower income groups? No. It is even bought by people who are traveling. They could be upper middle class. They could not, maybe not rich. I'm not talking about the elite like Ambani's or Adani's. But in general, if you're talking about the big consumer market, right? So this 5 rupee sachets is not just meant for lower income groups. So when the manufacturer makes this product, the manufacturer keeps the target groups also in his mind, right? You have the, for example, as I have said, shampoos, right? It is used by students, people who stay in the hostel, people who are on move, who are bachelors. So people who can't stick with one brand. So you have different categories the way it is done. Okay, so and then you have to position the product so that the product stands out. That is what is important. Standing out of the product is essential for the product to be uh, having a sustainability. Tide, you have that flash of whiteness. That is what is Tide stands for.
Ma'am,
Okay,
rinse soap.
rinse soap, Nirma, washing powder Nirma. So Lifebuoy, by default, Lifebuoy means you have so many soaps. What does Lifebuoy stand for? That tandurusti. Tandurusti is a key raksha karta hai Lifebuoy. Even till date, it is tandurusti.
Dabur also Indian product, ma'am. Dabur honey.
Yeah,
As a
Indian
call.
global.
Yes,
We're talking about, see, as students of advertising, what we understand, what we need to understand is, uh, we are not talking about nationalities here. We are talking about how successful a product is. That's one thing that we need to understand. What is the strategy that went into making a product successful? Lalta Jewelers, uh, that uh, that man, no one knows him, but he made Lalta Jewelers a brand. So what gets into making an advertisement successful is what? On the other hand, Tanishq is not such a success, even it is a Tata brand. So let us not get into, like, obviously we have our things, but why a product is successful, why a product is not. First, let us learn the lessons into advertising. Then we can get into all those things. Okay, you take Ramdev Baba product, huge success. How? Strategy. Ultimately, it's not as though he's giving us for peanuts. No, if you look at Ramdev Baba's products, they are as much competitive as any other international brands. Maybe 10 rupees less or 15 rupees less, but not more than that. He is not offering us for less price, no, not at the manufacturing price. He is also keeping his profits. Okay, we are almost at the end of the session. So what I'm trying to explain to you is product positioning, planning, segmentation, targeting, all are equally important for any product to be successful. Is this clear?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts, anything that needs to be discussed, you're free. And okay, can any one of you share me the link of this in the group? Link of this lecture. You can watch this on the YouTube, right? Just one of you share this link to me. In the charts. Okay, so we are done with the class. Any doubts, anything that needs to be talked, we can discuss. Pearl. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you so much. Uh, Anything else that you would like to be, anything that you want to be clarified? I'm free, or you can put in the chat group or whatever. Yes, then okay, then we'll end the class. Okay, we're done. Okay.